Hey, we are back with another crew tiny home in The Sims 4. Today, we're doing the painter's home. I have done the artist career before. I wanted to do it, and a viewer had said something about doing it, so I just did it. It's really easy to twist my arm to get me to create any kind of painter's corner, okay? I do them all the time. They're just so fun. And creating a home that's dedicated to a creative person is my favorite. Like, let's do it. How fun is that? I wanted to do this one a little differently. I love a good, factory, brick building, old warehouse looking type build. I just think they're the bee's knees, okay? I think they're so pretty. My dream growing up was to live in a lofted brick home. I mean, maybe it still is a dream of mine. I just think they're so pretty. I love the tall ceilings. I love interior brick walls. There's just something about them that speaks to my soul, okay? I thought it'd be really fun to put this home in Moonwood Mill. I wanted to do this very factory looking build, maybe old, forgotten build that's been transformed into somebody's home. And who better than an artist to decide, oh yeah, I'm going to take over this old abandoned building and make it my home. I will say I started building this home a couple days ago because I always take a couple days to build. I'm super busy. I've got lots of things going on, which I imagine that you can relate. It's life, right? Anyway, so I was building this build, got pretty far along, and realized what I was going to turn into the bathroom. I hollowed out, made an office nook, a little desk nook, if you will. Realized really quickly, well, not too quickly, unfortunately, that the space I had carved out for a tiny bathroom I had accidentally created into a little desk nook. And I just didn't feel like there was any way coming back from it. I couldn't picture in my mind how I was going to fix it with keeping it in a 64 tile range and keeping my little desk area that I so loved. Is it necessary? No. But I always think it's a great thing that if you have it, to have a computer, and a built-in bookshelf is just, Book Nook Kit changed my life and I can't help myself. So there's a little built-in nook area for you to go and sit at a desk and work. And that's okay. I am here for it. I scrapped the entire build and started over and made sure to remember that my sim was going to need a bathroom. I'm using a mixture of businesses and hobbies windows, Moschino windows, and the Greenhouse Haven kit windows. All of those combined really look great together. The blacks are off a little bit, the gray and black to them. That's a Sims issue. I cannot help you with that. But I think it looks cohesive enough and works really well. I also love that Moschino and Greenhouse Haven have those windows that are open a little bit. It felt very the vibe of this house that this sim would have some windows open, letting some fresh air in. They live literally out in the woods. Now, I am using the werewolves columns. I like how they look a little industrial, a little dirty at the bottom. Adds into the fact that I'm picturing this house as an older factory that's been turned into somebody's home. There's bound to be a little bit of oldness to some things. I don't go crazy, okay? So there's not a whole lot of scuffs in the walls, beaten down, scratches, water spots, mold. My brain doesn't always go there. Plus, my idea with this house, my storyline, is that this sim has renovated it a little bit, So I think that those things would have been fixed. I used a half wall around the roof, all placed in a piece so that it doesn't turn itself into a room. So I keep within my 64 tiles. But I also used a really fun trim piece. If you ever played around with half walls, they have the trims. And there is one that comes from Get Famous, and it's the one on the top of my building where you see like those glass panes. I thought that was so cool. It looked really good and fit the vibe so well. I did at first have a ladder going up into the lofted space, but I thought it'd be really cool to have a separate space where your sim would actually have to go outside and use a staircase to get up into the top floor. There was just something I liked about it, having that like separate space. It also felt a little on point for this like old factory. Maybe they rented out the spaces separately. You had a top floor, bottom floor, so they had separate entrances. I mean, the world is your oyster with how you create your storyline. One of my favorite things to do is to take the brick from the outside, bring it in on the inside, and I paint everything with the brick wallpaper at first because I want to get a vibe for how it looks on all the walls. I will later go back in with different wallpapers as accent walls and create the way that I want it to look. This bathroom is just really simple, sweet, small. It is fully functional. If you haven't seen a 1x3 bathroom, you put your shower in the middle and the door, your sim just walks right through and can go and wash their hands, go to the bathroom, take their shower. Nothing breaks. They can do it all. Really, really clutch for these tiny homes. I always plan to have a bigger bathroom and sometimes I get away with it. But for this artist home, I wanted to really utilize a lot of the space upstairs for an artist studio, of course. This is the really fun little book nook that I add in with a desk. We use the Comfy Cozy Gamer Kit, Little Simsies kit, the Comfy Gamer Kit, Cozy Gamer Kit. I always forget. I think it's Comfy Cozy Cozy Gamer Kit. Anyways, I use that desk as well as using the book nook kit books, obviously. We use the bookshelves and kind of raise them up to where they're on the ceiling. I wanted it to feel very built in. And then I take these little pegboards and go up the back of the bookcase and create this back wall. So it then becomes really built in looking. And I think that's so fun. Obviously, I could have had them black and matched with everything else. I liked that wooden tone. I felt like it very much felt industrial. Super fun little thing to do and made a really great impact. While I'm in here and getting the layout of my kitchen, it is a very tiny kitchen. It is play tested. It does work. I had some issues later down the line where that corner piece wanted to keep deleting. And it's because I had alt placed my fridge a little too close to the cabinet. So you'll see it gets a little close. It almost overlaps a little bit. I move it back over and it fixes itself and stops deleting. We are back using Little Simsies kit with these pegboards. Clutch in this build. I just think they add so much functionality to this tiny home that you're in this very little kitchen. While very fun and open, lots of windows, you needed some kind of storage space, right? Where you're going to put your cups and stuff like that. You do have your counters, whatever you want to call them. But this created a space where we could add in some shelves and put some clutter on it. And I just really like it. I do alt place these a little bit so that I can fit in this smaller space without them clipping with the window. So the shelves don't want to fit exactly as they should because, like I said, they're overlapped. So I overlap and alt place the shelves a little bit. But I just really love the way it looked. I just add a little bit of her clutter in it, the little books and the candles, a plant. We're going to go back in and add more clutter to the kitchen later. But as of right now, just minimal clutter. And then going back in, I've used her computer, obviously, and we're going to add some of her clutter into our bookshelf. It's fun clutter pieces that I really use a lot. They can be used for so many different things. I've used that cat picture in most of my builds since the kit has dropped. I just think it's so fun. It's so cute. And we always need like little frames that can go up on a shelf. We have the little butterfly one, which I tend to use a lot. I love the cat one though. I mean, who doesn't love cats? There are people, but it's not me. I like cats. All right. Then I go in and I use the Cozy Kitsch kit. I love the sofas and the chairs and I love that fireplace. Actually, the whole kit is really just amazing, and I use quite a bit of it. I love how colorful and fun it is, and I really wanted to bring that juxtaposition of this really industrial space with lots of colors and plants, and honestly mesh this almost bohemian vibe, this very hippie-ish feel with this really hard industrial space. It's very me, I have to say. I love a good overlapping rug. It's not always something that I get to utilize. The laundry pack has these fun rugs that already come overlapping, and I just think they're so cool. And I actually use them in this build. I like them so much. And so it always inspires me to grab some rugs and let's overlap them. I just think that the vibe is so nice. And I really love this for rent rug. And it was easy to see my color scheme in it immediately. And I was like, yes, yellows, blues, and these salmony colors. I was so here for it. We use horse ranch for the flooring everywhere. I love the flooring, that wooden flooring in horse ranch. The fact that you can choose to have a very old kind of worn floor versus a newer floor is so fun. And so I kind of go with this older looking wooden floor, and I think it matched the vibe really well of this place. I really wanted there to be a wallpaper that looked like the brick had been painted over. And while we have some, the texture is off. The texture is a little off, but basically it has this one right here that you see me using. It's pretty nice. It's not exact, but I think it works well enough to, oh, here it is. So if you see, I'm adding this corner piece back. I had brought a sim here, and that is what changed things. It's literally disappearing. It's the craziest thing. I get it. And I know that there are people out there who don't like BB Move objects. I love having the ability to move things a little closer. Your bed is not going to be 6 inches off the wall. I mean, it might, but it doesn't. It reads weird in The Sims, which is why I playtest everything. So I may use BB Move objects, but I'm always playtesting my builds. I learned that a long time ago, that what's the point of me having fun and creating these houses if they can't be used to the best of their abilities? And I know that there are some times where you build because it's fun and silly and crazy, and maybe it's not supposed to be playable. But for the most part, I want my builds to be playable. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to playtest and make sure that your sim can use the household and not have any issues. When I saw this high school year's bed, the perfect little swatch that had these blues and oranges, yellows, it really fit the vibe of downstairs, and it carried that up. I love the metal bed frame. It read industrial, but also very green and cozy and bohemian, as I said before. Very free spirit vibes, which I'm here for. I do come in with a normal nightstand at first. I'm going to change it. You're going to see. And you're going to love it because I love it. And if you don't love it, well, maybe you should download the build and you can change it because it's on the gallery. Did you like that plug? It's on the gallery. My EA ID is katxthrash, just like the name here. So easy for you to find and decide that your sim needs to live here. And I also think that this place would look really great in San Myshuno, but I build there so often, and I don't build very often in Moonwood Mill. I cannot actually remember the last time I built here. It's just not someplace I go. It's a little dark in this world, and I think that's okay. It's obviously fine that's darker, but that's why it tends not to be my vibe. But I really like this world, actually. If we're being honest, this world is so beautiful. Listen, it's a converted warehouse. Converted factory, whatever you want to call it. So it stands with reason that they may not have closet space. Why wouldn't your sim have a fun clothing rack that has some of their clothes on it? So we get the high school years one, and we fill it up with clothes. Dream Home Decorator, high school years, horse ranch, and now businesses and hobbies all have clothes to add to these racks. And then there are shoes from Dream Home Decorator, so we add some shoes to it and just create this really fun space that looks like your sim's closet, but not a closet, just a hanging rack full of clothes. I don't have a closet, so I actually have a big giant rack to hang all my clothes on. I've got a rack for my shoes, So this is very personal to me. I didn't even think about that until I started talking about it here. This is my vibe, except for the rack that I have is like 4 times this size. I got a lot of clothes. I love clothing. I wanted to be a clothing designer. I have books filled with designs. It just was a dream of mine. I took clothing design and fashion history in high school. But sometimes those things just don't work out. And so it wasn't something that I could pursue. But I have like this really deep love for clothing. And so I have a lot of clothing. Anyways, we are using the Laundry Pack's 3 rugs that are kind of twisted and turned. It's the one that automatically is like that. But they were just hanging out the window a little bit too much. You couldn't see it because of the way that rugs work in The Sims 4. So I decided to take the rugs. I liked the patterns that it had on it. I decided to kind of make my own, shrink them down, shrink them down and just twist them around and make it work for me. Now, hear me out. This is all the Artist Studio kit stuff. I'm just pulling it out. That's my Artist Studio right there. So I'm pulling everything out. I'm going to go through other packs. I'm going to find the paint cans from San Myshuno. I've got the little like paint rug. It's like a tarp that has paint on it. If you do bb.ignore gamesplay unlocks entitlement, they also have this little artist stand. I go through and pull out all the painting clutter that I can find to like my heart's desire. We grab canvases, we grab the little canvas rack, and it's a mess everywhere. We're going to get through it together though. At this point, I decide the bed really needs to kind of go up against the fencing up here. Yeah, it's safe. Your Sim's not going to like roll off. There's a little fence right there. Hopefully your Sim would be safe. I'm just kidding. Obviously they're going to be safe. But in a real world situation, you should be safe. If you were sleeping there, you know, it's like, you know, those toddler gates that you get for their beds so they don't roll off the bed as they're getting used to having a normal bed and not a crib. It's very much that for your Sim. But I have just added all the clutter and then just deciding how everything's going to move around and look. I wanted to use as much as possible, so I'm just configuring everything. And yes, it takes a minute, but when it comes together, man, it comes together and I'm super happy with it. I had shrunk some things down. I brought them all back to size and then just cluttered things a certain way. I got rid of my nightstand and used the little artist nightstand looking thing as my Sims nightstand, and I end up alt placing a lamp on it. I just had so much fun. I love a good artist studio. Like I said, there's a lot of my builds that have art easels in them. Easy way to make money. You can make so much money in The Sims being an artist and painting to your heart's desire. Don't mind the clutter down here. I thought about changing up the way the clothing rack look, and it is going to move around a little bit before it finally finds its home. I also put the record player here because I think it's so fun and it adds to this like retro feeling vibe. I shrink down those canvases and get rid of them. I didn't remember actually getting rid of them, but that makes sense because I take the little like rack of canvases, size that down and put it in front of my pictures a little bit. The industrial loft kit has some really fun items, and I really love this little graffiti mural with the bicycle. Actually, in the default swatch is beautiful. I use it as well just to kind of once again add this old building vibe to the house. Get Together has these little club flags, and one of them is like a little palette. So cute. So I definitely add it as a little like decorative item up here in your artist studio. We're changing all the swatches to a darker wood tone because I just like the way that it looked and I'm building it. So it's good that I like the way it looked. But we're using the dirty swatches because your Sim's a mess. She's over here painting, slinging paint, touching things and getting paint everywhere. And I'm here for it. There are some creative people who are really clean and don't make messes. Not us. Not us at all. We have little trays that we use for when we paint. I mean, I literally have a rainbow handprint on one of them from my son from when we were painting. Like we make messes and we live in the mess and we're happy to do it because it's fun and it makes memories. And every time I see that little rainbow handprint, it literally makes me smile because good memories. I wanted to add tons of plants to this place. I wanted, once again, that juxtaposition of this really hard exterior, wrought iron windows and brick exterior and interior with soft colors and a flowy sheer curtain and plants and just bring it to life. I really love this build. I love all my builds. But this has a special little place in my heart. Like I said, I wanted to live in a lofted studio space for so many years. And I still think that it's the bee's knees. And I would live here in a heartbeat if it had room for me and my 2 kids and my sisters and their dogs. It does not. Alas, it does not. That's okay. This isn't my dream home per se. Not in the truth that I live in at this moment, but it's such a pretty place. And if we could extend it, could add a little bit more stuff to it, more rooms, a bigger bathroom, we could make it work. It could be my dream home. Just kind of finishing, moving things around. I mean, I always feel like I have more to do. And while cluttering, yes, but there always feels like to move on from the step of building to being ready to add furniture, to being ready to add clutter, to being ready to do the landscaping, I always have a hard time moving to the next step. And I don't know why that is. I guess I just want to make sure I've dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's. But we get there. I eventually will force myself to move to the next step. Oof. So we are just adding lots of clutter, little things that I think that your sim might utilize, stacks of magazines and books and plants, candles. The newest bathroom kit has that really pretty bathroom rug with the tassels, perfect for in here. Then it came to cluttering this space. And I really wanted to just add as much kitchen-esque items as we could. So we're using the clutter kit where it has some mugs. There is a stack of magazines from Strangerville, I believe, that if you flip through the swatches, it's green, like the top swatch, but if you flip through the swatches, it's got this one where it looks like maybe it's a pie. So cooking magazines, your camping kit has pots and pans. There's pottery from businesses and hobbies. So I just tried to add so much and make this space seem lived in and make this space feel used. I wanted to use these businesses and hobbies lights so much. So I used them as much as possible without being too crazy and obviously where they made sense. So we kind of lined the window in the artist studio. I loved that special vibe that twinkle lights have. And it just felt really right in the space. I used Dream Home Decorator and add an extra rug downstairs. It felt like it needed a little more to kind of soften up this little corner space where you would get your clothes for the day. Lovestruck has these twinkle lights that go on your ceiling that look like stars. I took the light out of the bathroom and added those to the ceiling. So your bathroom has some light. It's a little dimmer, but I think that's so fun. In the spirit of adding lights and lamps around, I used this little gold old worn lamp and it's just so cool. I'll place it on top of that little nightstand and it was just so fun. I also used the little star twinkle lights above your bed. It's not the ones from Businesses and Hobbies, but I think it's so cool. I go a little crazy at first adding these lights everywhere, trying to think, where are they going to look the best at? I tried to use the bowling lights outside, but they're kind of dark. So we used this base game one, and I think that looks really good. I wanted to use more of the Businesses and Hobbies lights. So we used them around this front window and the door. And I think it looks really cool, actually. I take away a little bit. It got like Christmas lighty, but just a little bit of them was really nice and kind of just added a little fun to your front door. Realizing I didn't have a trash can inside the house when I got to the outside of the house, so I got rid of these little plants that I had put over in the corner and used the pastel pop kit and used one of the fun swatches on those little trash cans and put it in the living room. And then we use a Businesses and Hobbies trash can in the backyard. So we're checked and covered on those things. City living. Oh my gosh. I sat here. I'm like downtown living. San Myshuno. This city pack. City living has these cool benches that look painted. And I thought that that was such a fun effect that maybe your sim painted those things one afternoon of boredom. Then I got this creator showcase. I thought there was another showcase that we had beforehand for you to put your artwork on. I can't remember what it's called, and maybe I'm making it up in my head, but I thought we had something else that we could put our artwork on. But that's okay. We use this one for businesses and hobbies. I wanted your sim to be able to put their artwork up on it and showcase their work. Use it however you see fit. It's really just so that you can be a painter and do it well and excel really fast. That's what these tiny homes are for. I usually talk about it way beforehand, but I've created this series of career tiny homes where we're utilizing tiny homes to move yourself further in the career of your choice. We're obviously at P for painter. We have moved quite a long ways in this series, and I'm going to be really sad when it wraps up and it's all done. But the thought is that in a tiny home, you have different tiers that give you different effects. And we're in a tier 2 small home, so you're going to get a quicker skill gain. You're going to feel fine all the time. Your bills are cheaper. There are so many great perks with tiny homes. So we're using that. We're using that tiny home to bump up our skill gain and become a master painter before you know it, while also feeling good and paying less in bills. I didn't want to do a ton of landscaping. I really wanted to just bring everything from the world onto this lot. So we used a lot of evergreen. I sized them down and twisted them all around to create this illusion that the environment is right there, you know? So if you place this build in another world, it may look a little silly. You might get rid of the evergreens, but they work here in Moonwood Mill. I did give you a little area that you can grill and sit and hang out. I also decided to grab some of these canvases, sizing them down a little bit and all placing them to where they almost look like they're leaning on this little creator showcase. Maybe they're the pictures that you didn't have space for to put them up, but you still wanted them to be seen. So I wanted it to look realistic and just be a fun moment for your little showcase. On the ceiling, you obviously have a ladder going up. I wanted that space up there to be utilized, usable, however you see fit. I did put an easel up there and 2 garden plots so that your sim could, in fact, go up there and paint and garden if they wanted to. Just a little something extra fun. We're really getting into the last touches, so I am taking these low-lying pale yellow flowers. They are probably the number 1 used grass effect in The Sims 4. I mean, I know how much I use them. They come in clutch so often. So I've sized them down. I kind of alt placed them and I put them at the bottom of the trees. Yes, I know the trees out in the world don't have that around them, but I think it helps to cover up where roots would be to make it look a little more organic and not just like a flat bottom tree plopped onto land. We got our citronella candle out there. I wanted more lights, but I decided bring it in, reel it in, reel it in. You got a lot of lights. So I settled down. But we are basically to the end of this build. All we have left to do is add this terrain paint. So I think it's time we jump into these screenshots. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely keep coming back for more. I really love the way that this building turned out. It's such a fun, tiny home without being overly tiny. Your sim has the space and has room to do everything they need. And so while they have this really great artist studio, they can still get on the computer. They can watch TV. They can read books. They have so much to do. They can even garden. You know what I mean? So I love the way this place turned out. I love a good lofted space. I love brick. It's just so beautiful. I hope you like it too. And if you do, you can get it off the gallery. My EAID is katxthrash, just like the name here on YouTube. This build is play tested and ready for you to use. Make sure to come back We are moving along so quickly in our career series. Next up, we will be doing the politician career, and that should be fun. Slithering with sarcasm, or, however you want to say that. Anyways, I hope you have a great night wherever you are. Bye, y'all.